Hey, beautiful humans. Hello. Ooh, here we go. Hello. We are live, and I can actually see myself this time, so this is interesting. I'll give people a minute to hop on. I apologize for the technical issues. This is the first time that I am going live from my computer instead of my cell phone. And we're gonna have cat cameos the whole time. There he is. Hi, Bridget. Thank you so much for letting me know um, that my audio was off. Hey, Shauna. Hello. I couldn't see comments before either, so this is much improved. Yay, much improved. Okay. So if you hop on, say hello. Feel free to comment throughout the video. Also, if you happen to be watching the replay, which I hope a lot of you will, comment, say replay, let me know that you're here. And as always, throughout these events, feel free to ask any questions. If you have something personal to your situation, just type it down there in the comment box. I'll do my best to answer questions as we go along. And then even after the event is over, feel free to comment and ask questions, and I will keep checking back to help you guys as needed. But for those of you that are here, thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited about this presentation because this presentation it was born from years of frustration on my part. I mentioned in my post today about this event that I am a very free, flowy, free spirit. I don't like a lot of structure in my stuff, and so traditionally the thought of scheduling and myself did not jive. However, women these days are juggling a lot. And it was probably about 6 years ago, I found myself losing my mind. I felt overwhelmed, overstressed, burned out, unhappy, and I couldn't figure out how to solve it until I did, after years of trial and error. So this presentation is your shortcut to saving your schedule and doing it with sanity and having time to do the fulfilling things in your life that you truly enjoy. And these 5 tips have worked for me personally. They continue to work for my coaching clients. And speaking of which, if you don't know me, if you're new to this group, hi, I'm Rachel Bonner Williams, and I am a feminine leadership coach, and I help women be bold without the burnout, because we are all battling the burnout these days. And women especially are juggling a lot. We've got career, home, family. Hey, Jocelyn! Pets, fuzzy kids, non-fuzzy kids, our own personal hobbies and interests. There's just a lot going on. And then COVID came in and added a whole nother layer of complexity with co-working, and especially for those women who have kids, getting, childcare situations all thrown up in the air. It's been a lot. So I am doing what I can to help women beat this state of burnout, because I have personally lived that pain, and so I want to share these 5 things that really, really worked for me. So, first tip is going to seem a little, people are like, wow, that is not what I expected when I came to this Saving Your Schedule masterclass. It is get really clear on your vision and your values. And you're like, what does that have to do with my schedule? Like, what vision, values, what? The reason this is important is everybody has a finite amount of time. And so the key to having time to do the things that you want to is getting really clear on what it is that you want to do. What's important to you? What lights you up? What are the things that you just absolutely miss having in your life? Because the reality is that you're never going to have the time unless you make the time. So getting really clear on what you value, and then literally making those things a priority is step number 1. And for the vision piece, like that's values, the vision piece is when you get really clear on your vision and what you're out to accomplish, this allows you to also recruit help. Because how many of you have been in a situation where you're like, oh my God, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. And you've got friends and family that are like, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? And you're like, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. Like, that was me. Chat, say yes in the chat if that's true for you too. So when you have a vision, it allows you to delegate, to recruit and delegate, which we will get into in just a little bit. And it helps you ask for help in the things that you want. And then also, as a feminine leader, being able to delegate effectively it allows you to lead by example, right? Because we all need help. And so when you act as a leader by delegating the things and asking for help, it allows other people to do the same. And it really makes you a more authentic leader. And I think so many times people feel guilty about asking for help or delegating things. But then if somebody, think about, put your other shoes on. Like, think about when people come to you and say, hey, I need help with this, or can you really help me with this? Of course you're like, yes, of course, I'd love to help. People are the same for you. So tip number 1, get clear on your vision and your values. So tip number 2 is surrender to the schedule. Just surrender to it and ditch perfectionism right out of the window, which I think I'm getting ahead of myself. But like I said, I was very resistant to the scheduling because I like my freedom. I want the freedom. I don't want to tie myself down. I want the freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And yes, Bridget, understanding your vision equals being a more authentic leader. Spot on. Spot on. So Myers-Briggs, I'm an ESFP. Shauna's like, what? Yeah, Shauna, you already know. Like, yep, we've talked about this. I fought the schedule hard. However, and this is something that I told Shauna, that the thing that really made a difference for me in my mindset with scheduling is If you don't have a schedule, your day is at the mercy of everyone else's emergencies. And keep in mind, too, that when you have a schedule, and we'll talk a little bit more about mental overwhelm in a minute, you have these movable blocks, especially with Google Calendar. Oh, I love Google Calendar. But even in, Microsoft, you have these blocks of time. And then I'm also what I call a time optimist. I tend to think that things are going to take me a lot less time than I think they are, or I don't think it all the way through. And so having those physical blocks in front of me lets me schedule out my day and week without overwhelming myself. I can make sure I have white space where I need it. But it helps to remember that at the end of the day, you are the creator and the master of your schedule. So if you're feeling hemmed in by committing yourself to things, just keep in mind that you're the owner, you're the master. You can move those blocks around or delete them completely as you see fit. And that will hopefully help you get over that feeling of restraint. Yeah, Bridget, schedule is just a movable blocks. It's totally it. And the real magic, though, because I said if you don't have a schedule, your day is at the mercy of everyone else's emergencies. Having your time blocked out, then when people come to you and they're like, oh my God, I need this, or can you help me with this, or can you help me with that? I'm a very honest person, and I'm also a very helpful person. So before I had a schedule, people would come to me and I'd be like, yes, 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 yes. And then I'd get to the end of the day, and then I would finally get started on my to-do list. But when people come to me now and I have these blocks in my schedule, I can literally look at my calendar and say, hey, I would love to help you with that, but I've got this, this, and this. Would you mind waiting until, tomorrow or the day after or next week? Love to help you with that. Can we schedule a time to get together to talk about it? And people are generally like, yeah, sure, of course, great. And so it's a beautiful way of making sure that you are in control of your time and still being able to help people out and be the helpful person that you want to be. You're just doing it in a more timely fashion, and you get rid of the guilt if somebody comes to you and you can't really help them, but you don't want to say no, which we totally work on in my coaching programs. The calendar backs you up. It gives you the hard black and white to show you or the reasoning, so you don't feel like a jerk. You're just like, no, I don't have time. Like, you can say, I'd love to help, but I've got this, that, and this. Can we do it later? Side benefit is also generally if people come to you all the time as a leader, this is leadership, in a panic, and you tell them like, hey, I'd really like to help you, but can we push it back to, a block of time then? It will make people generally in the time that they're waiting, they'll figure it out on their own. And that is very important, not just for you, but for them, because I'm guilty of it too. I default to, I can't do this, it's hard, like I need help. But when I had mentors and leaders that encouraged me to try to figure it out on my own in the meantime, typically I did. And it feels really good to figure things out on your own instead of just constantly defaulting to, I need help, I need help, I need help. It's so much more empowering to figure it out on yourself or by yourself. And this goes for personal stuff too. So the other thing I mentioned was, at work, when I was so busy at work, the last thing I wanted to do was schedule my personal life because I was trying to balance. But if you get over that hump and just commit to literally blocking out every day, I even do it on the weekends now. Your life will go from a state of reactivity to calm. And then you're more present for the people that you love and the activities that you love in your free time. So important. And we'll get into that in the next one, which is tip number 3, opt out of overwhelm. Opt out of overwhelm. Take a drink of water. I am the worst about overwhelm. Probably because I am such a free, flowy spirit that when I have a lot going on, there's a lot going on in your head. And I've seen these articles too that are so true about half of women's stress these days is the mental management, right? Like they're not only the manager at work, they're also the mental manager at home. And a lot of times the partners in our lives, our significant others, are like, oh, well, I would love to help you if you would just tell me what to do. It's like, well, by having to tell you what to do, like the mental planning is still part of my responsibility. So it feels like it doesn't really take a lot off your plate because you're still mentally having to plan all this stuff out. So the key is anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, go ahead and list out everything. I have like 6 journals all the time. I've got journals for work, I've got journals for coaching, I've got journals for personal. And anytime I catch myself in overwhelm, it's kind of that paralysis by analysis, right? Like you get nothing done because you're just like, you can't even focus. Sit down, grab a piece of paper, pull up a Word document, and just start bullet listing everything that's in your head. Write it down. I don't care if it's like, I want to paint my toenails, to I've got X project due, to get the kids to school, to I really need to comb the knots out of my cats, like anything and everything. And just the exercise of writing it down on paper is enough to like calm the mind. It just really gives you this sense of control and calm. And then it helps you with the 4D system. It sets you up for that 4D system, which we'll be talking about. That's tip number 5. And it also allows you to just really see what's in front of you. Kind of like with the blocks in the calendar, just getting all of the clutter out of your mind into a list just makes all the difference in the world. Shauna says, personal life is my biggest hurdle. I reject it because my whole week at work is scheduled. Yes, that was me. I was totally there. And you will deal with that for a little bit. But then, as you know, Shauna, as you stick with it, both things tend to decrease or get more manageable, I guess is a better term. And then both become more enjoyable. Shauna says, she is so right. You get all that mess out of your head, and it's such a relief. Suddenly you don't have to remember it because it's on paper. Yes, and that is the huge key why scheduling is the key to your sanity, because you get out of that mental overload because it's all in black and white and you don't have to remember to remember to remember, which I don't remember, honestly. Like, if it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. So I've just learned to put everything on my calendar. Tip number 4. Thank you guys for doing so great on the comments. Yay! All right, tip number 4. This is a big one. Progress over perfection and the power of the pivot. I am a recovering type A perfectionist. It was one of the biggest realizations of my life when I realized that procrastination is, for a lot of people, a sign, not a sign, like a codependent partner of perfectionism. So procrastination was my way of delaying and having control over a situation when it felt very out of control. That one was huge for me. I'll say it again. When a situation felt very out of control, like I didn't 100% know how I was going to handle it, I would find myself putting it off until the last minute, where then that, like, oh my God, would kick in and motivate me to, like, get it done. And that was a symptom of my perfectionism. And learning to let go of the outcome and just take stuff one step at a time has been huge for me. And progress over perfection. Do a little bit, let it go. Do a little bit more, let it go. Do a little bit more, let it go. And if you trust and just keep working at it, generally the steps will reveal themselves along the way. New information will come in. The other way I say it is like, it's the monster under the bed effect. Until you actually look under the bed, you don't know what you're dealing with. And that also helps you get out of this, like, I'm ahead of myself. So when you do look under the bed and you see what's under there, you're like, oh, it's just some dirty old socks. Like, it's not as big of a deal as I thought it was going to be. But if you don't just go look at it, you've spent more time and energy building this thing up in your mind than if you had just gone and said, well, I'm going to look at it for 10 minutes, or I'm going to do an outline. And here's the sneaky bit about that. Every time I tell myself, I'm just going to start with an outline, or I'm just going to spend 5 minutes, I end up spending an hour and knocking the whole thing out. Because the hardest part is the starting for me. And I know there's opposites. My mom was actually my opposite. She's always like, start now, get it done. Like, and I was always like, wait until the very last minute. But the older I get, the more I realize, like, just, you can literally psych yourself out by just scheduling 15 minutes in your calendar to, like, plan for the thing, and then you do the thing. Bridget says so many dirty old socks. Yeah, right? Socks and these, what do I call them? They're like cat hair tumbleweeds. Ghost turds. That was the thing I was trying to think of. Ghost turds. All these little, like, cat hair tumbleweeds. We call them ghost turds in this house. It's pretty funny. Shauna says, yeah, it typically turns out not to be as big of a deal as they make it out to be. Totally. Totally. And also another tip that I have learned as a leader is when you see an opportunity, say yes first and then work out the how as you go along. And that was actually how this presentation was born. Somebody in my corporate job asked me, would I be willing to present? And I said, yes. And then the next day they're like, okay, what are you going to present on? And I was like, I don't know. Oh, 5 secrets to saving your schedule. It was like an out of body experience, but it's kind of a sneaky way to give yourself deadlines. Like if you say, I'll get to it, I'll get to it, I'll get to it until you figure out the how, like I need to figure out how and then I'll commit to it. You'll never end up committing to it. If you commit to it, then you got to figure out the how, and you're much more motivated to get it figured out. And then be willing to pivot and release some expectations. There's a lot of times where we feel guilty because we don't do a thing this perfect way. Like, how many of you can identify with that? Like, oh my God, it's not perfect, so I can't do it because it's not perfect. The perfect example was this presentation. When I committed and said yes to this presentation, I had it in my head that I was going to have all these slides and it was going to be super fancy and super thought out, but my schedule didn't allow for it. So I just decided to be happy with progress over perfection and gave it from my notes, just like I'm doing tonight. And it ended up being so much more interactive and authentic that way. So let it be okay to pivot. As long as stuff is getting done, it doesn't have to be perfect. Progress over perfection every single day. I'm going to build suspense for tip 5. Any questions, ladies? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Progress over perfection, Bridget says. Love it. Yes. Yes. So, tip 5 is what I call my super secret system. And you've probably heard versions of this everywhere, like especially if you're into personal development, you've heard versions of this before. But in my own experience, I've never heard it called the 4D system. Hi, Mandy. Yeah. Yep. Totally. Progress over perfection was very hard for me at work. Yes, Shauna. But don't you feel so much better now that it's like, and here's the thing, ladies. What you feel is your like 50% is really someone else's 85%. It's one of the curses of the high achievers mindset that I talk about in our high achievers happy hours. Like, we are so hard on ourselves. Even when we feel like we're doing a really crappy job, other people are like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. A little bit of lag with the comments. Hi, Mandy. I'm so glad you're here. So, the super secret 4D system. Do, delay, delegate, delete. Do, delay, delegate, delete. And as Shauna and I joke, delete, 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 delete. So, if you'll realize these four tips, it's funny, when I wrote this out, this was not my intention, but these 4 tips that I've given in this presentation so far actually align magically with the 4D system. So taking a step back, when you list out all your stuff, you're going to go through your list with the 4Ds in mind. You're going to think about what you can do, what you can delay, what you can delegate, and what you can delete. So with the do, this is why the vision and the values is so important. You have to get really honest, and I talked about this at the beginning, about what is important to you, because we do not have time for everything. And if you just keep living your days at the mercy of everything that comes up, you will never get to the stuff that's really important to you. So get clear on what's really important to you. Put those in your schedule first. And then also get clear on why you want them, because that is what's going to help you recruit people and for the delegate piece as well. And it also helps you as a caring person, because I know all of you ladies here are super caring. It gives you the backup that you need to feel solid about asking others for help. Because honestly, we could just ask others for help and they'd be like, yes, they're happy to help. But in order to navigate and get rid of that personal guilt that some of us feel about asking for help, being really clear on your vision and your why helps with that. So that all ties in with do. Delay was tip number 2, surrendering to your schedule. So when you have your schedule blocked out, it's no longer at the mercy of everyone else's emergencies. And when people come to you with things, you can literally give them a time slot. Say, yes, I would love to help you with that, or yes, I would love to chat about that, or yes, I'd love to hang out with you. Can we do it next week on Wednesday afternoon? How does that look for you? Very important for the delays, because you can only do so much in a week. So figure out what it is that you really want to do, and then delay the other things. Excuse me. Number 3, opting out of overwhelm. That goes with the delegate. Delegate, 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 delegate. To be an effective leader, you have got to learn to delegate. We strong women want to do it all ourselves, but you are actually doing your teammates and the people that report to you a disservice by not delegating, because what you don't delegate doesn't get learned. Delegating things gives people the opportunity to learn. It doesn't just save you, it helps them learn. Those challenges are how they grow. And number 4, progress over perfection. That goes with the deletes. And part of no talk about deletes would be complete without my quit shoulding all over yourself. Quit shoulding all over yourself. If you hear yourself saying, oh, I should do this, I should do that, I need to get out and clean my garage, I wish I was a more organized person, all these uds. I wish I would, I should, I need, I have to's. Most of those, if you really sit back and ask yourself why, are expectations that you have placed upon yourself that don't actually really matter. Nobody is going to care if you have a perfectly organized closet. Are your kids going to care if you spent time with them, quality time with them, or if your closet's organized? They're going to care about time with you. And it's the same at work. Like, if you find yourself shoulding, like I should, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it necessary? Can I delete it? And Shauna and I talk about this all the time, and that's why we joke it's do, delay, delegate, delete, 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 because there is so much stuff that we expect. We place these expectations on ourselves that we have to get done, that if we didn't do it, honestly, like, it wouldn't crash and burn like we think it would. And even if it does crash and burn, this is something else I talk about, let it break. Let it break. And then people start to notice the value that you were providing, or that they need to step up so it doesn't break. Sometimes you have to let the things break so that you can go in and fix them. And people can step up to the challenge for themselves. So hopefully that's all making sense. Let me know if y'all have any questions about any of that, but that is my super secret 4D system. Do, delay, delegate, delete, and quit shoulding all over yourself. Half the things that we think we have to do for people because we've always done them that way, people didn't actually care about it as much as we thought they did, if that makes sense. So let me know, ladies, how is this resonating for you? Do y'all have any questions? I'm going to drink some tea because there's a little lag in the comments. Bridget says, let it break. That's such an amazing perspective. Yeah. Yeah, Bridget. I told that to a manager that was getting honestly devalued. And people were just expecting her to save them every time. And I said, let it break. Then they have to learn to save themselves. And it ended up really like making a difference within her department because they had to step up, right? Any other questions? Any other realizations? Big ahas? Which one of these are y'all like looking forward to using? Which one of these resonated with you the most? Or you're like, yes, I never thought about that. Or yes, that really sounds like me. So yeah, these 5 tips totally changed my life. Totally changed my life. I still use them. I will continue to use them. And a little bonus tip I would say is make sure you schedule in your white space too, because we all need that downtime just to do whatever we want to. And don't be afraid to move those blocks around. Shauna, all of them. Thank you. Yeah. So if any of this resonates or you feel like you need a little extra support in implementing this and making it a reality in your life, then I invite you to take me up on a complimentary session. I would love, love, love to have you ladies book me for a complimentary session. It'll be you and me one-on-one. We will go through what is going on in your life that has you feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, burned out, and you will walk away with a plan of action and feeling inspired and confident and excited to like implement these strategies into your life so that you can move forward being a happy, whole human being. Mandy says, I'm trying to do that with the new nurses, but it's a very fine line when it comes to patient care. Yes, Mandy, word. Yeah, like lives are on the line in that case. So it's much harder to let things break. Totally understand. And And that is probably a good example of where then you just have to have more upfront communication and really hold that line and say, these are the things, this is what I'm doing. This is what I see breaking if I stop doing it. How are you guys going to step up and help me to make sure that this does not happen, or that this no longer keeps happening? Like, put the onus on your teammates. Challenge them to step up. We all need a little bit of challenge. Say yes to the session. Yeah, you're not saying yes to me. You're saying yes to yourself. Say yes to self. It's like the thing I say most in my practice. Say yes to self. Take that first step. Commit. You don't have to know the how. Just take the step. Know that you are valuable. Know that you are worthy. Know that any time you invest in yourself is just going to make everything else in your life, the ripple effect, run so much smoother. So, let me know if you want one of those one-on-one deep dive sessions. And as always, you ladies are welcome to comment as things come up for you. If questions come up for you, you can post them here, put them in the Having It All coaching community group. I love you guys. And super secret, I kind of hinted to this for my Black Friday sale, but I've got a program coming up in January, which is called Be the Balance, which is taking these 5 tips and more and really integrating them into your life so you can finally achieve that work-life balance that you have been dying for. I remember I was like literally dying because my health was going off the rails for this work-life balance. So if that interests you, also let me know. You can PM me or comment in the comments below and let me know if you're interested in that program. We have 2 lovely ladies signed up. That's going to be in January. We'll meet weekly for 4 weeks via Zoom. So virtual meetings. Usually I do them at noon on Fridays, but we can tailor to whatever the group needs. And it's amazing. We just build the group coaching programs are amazing because you're not only getting access to me, but you're getting access to each other and the beautiful mirrors that all these ladies are to each other. It's just so inspiring. So thank you guys for being here. Let me know if you have any questions or if you'd like additional assistance from myself. And I hope y'all all have a beautiful rest of your evening and a great rest of your week. And if I don't talk to you before then, happy holidays. Bye, guys.